Just want to give you some more updates in this video as to what is happening right now with Iran and also in Gaza and of course the Houthis. If you're not subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing because I give you all the updates that you need. Take a look at this particular video. I'm not able to actually play the whole video because of censorship from YouTube, but this is how it looks. Take a look. So you can see that this guy, just want to pause here, he's coming out of a tank, and this guy is an Israeli soldier. He was pulled out from the tank. The tank was destroyed, looks like. The guy was hijacked, and all of these things happened on October 7th. Even though I do believe that this is all staged, the October 7th attack was mostly a false flag, not 100%. I don't believe 100%, but mostly it was a false flag. But can you imagine how embarrassing it was for an IDF soldier to be pulled out from a tank the way he was? Now, take a look at this particular video. You can see right here, there are red dots where you can see these are actually IDF soldiers in an agricultural area in Gaza, in Khan Yunis, I believe. And they were approaching, and then boom, they got all killed, 5 of them. But then this is actually a video from, I think, last week or last month, actually not last week, last month from July, shows that 5 IDF soldier foot patrolling in Gaza got completely pulverized. Now, not only this, but also we are hearing this particular news. Houthis are wreaking havoc. Houthis are wreaking havoc in Israel. So what happened this time? And I think a lot of you have already seen this. What is happening there? A fresh wave of tension erupts in the Middle East as Yemen's Houthi rebels launch a missile at Israel just days after Israeli airstrikes devastated key infrastructure in Sana'a. The Israeli military confirms it intercepted the missile, which triggered widespread silence across Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and the occupied West Bank. The attack follows a controversial cluster bomb strike from Yemeni Houthis, and we have seen those footages on social media, the cluster bomb strike. This was by the Houthis, a first of its kind, and it happened on August the 22nd. Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz vowed heavy retaliation, targeting Yemen's capital with precision airstrikes. And when they talk about precision airstrikes, I mean the Zionist forces, they don't really mean a single word of that. Why? Because there is nothing called precision when Israel strikes you. It is all about mass killing, slaughtering innocent civilians, children and women. Now, there is this report that you should know. Half of Israeli soldiers, they are fleeing Gaza. Why? Well, it is because they are completely exhausted. They cannot fight in Gaza. They do not have the courage, nor the strength, physical strength, mental strength. A lot of them are actually taking their own lives. So they are saying thanks, but no thanks. We are not going to be going back to Gaza. In fact, a lot of them have reported, a lot of the IDF soldiers or reservists who went into Gaza said, my fellow comrades, like the fellow soldier, did not show up. Half of them, I had 100 of my team, 100 member in my team, but only 60 showed up. But we know that the Israeli military, they aim to mobilize 60,000 additional reservists, extend service for 20,000 more. We know that, right? We spoke about this, that they want more and more soldiers. But officials are uncertain, and this comes from Al Jazeera News. The officials, the Israeli military officials, now uncertain how many will actually serve, as attendance has steadily declined, quote unquote. I actually want to show you this on the screen here. Around a dozen officers and soldiers described depleted units, with at least 2 reporting, that 40 to 50% of colleagues failed to appear. 40 to 50% failed to appear. I mean, they did not show up. They were like, no, I'm not going to go to Gaza and fight because I don't think there is any purpose of doing that anymore. Now, Lieutenant General Ayal Zamir, he has big problem with this, and he said, this is why I cannot fight in Gaza, because a lot of these reservists, they're not showing up. So Lieutenant General Ayal Zamir, Israel's military chief, reportedly objected to Prime Minister Netanyahu's decision to expand the carnage, partly over concerns about reservist readiness, the newspaper said. Initially, reservist turnout exceeded 100% when the genocide started in Gaza, but the volunteers, they are now declining to serve. But the prolonged carnage has strained families, careers, and mental health. Some reservists have begun refusing service on ideological grounds, saying it is no longer just. I want to pause for a second. When the Israeli reservists, IDF terrorists, they say, I don't feel like doing it because there is a problem with my morality and what is going on in Gaza. They're lying. They don't have any morality. They are being taught how to hate the Palestinians. So this is just a lame excuse for not fighting in Gaza. It is, quote unquote, no longer just. Yeah. Reserve Captain Ron Feiner received a 25-day prison sentence for refusing deployment, saying the government was prolonging the conflict even if it means leaving the hostages behind. The government never cared about hostages, but you have Zionist shill coming on Western media like, Douglas Murray, all of those garbage piece of scumbags will come and say, the hostage deal negotiation failed because of Hamas. But the IDF soldiers, they're saying, no, it is because of Netanyahu. Now, what is happening with Iran is something very, very interesting, okay? But before I share that piece of news about Iran, I want to share this video footage first from Jeffrey Sachs.
Which is obviously connected to a bunch of other conflicts around that region. Where are we in averting a war with Iran right now?
Good news, of course, is that President Trump is negotiating. He's resisting Netanyahu's constant call for the U.S. to go to war with Iran. And that call by Bibi for yet another war in the Middle East is yet another of these long-term deep state projects. This is an Israeli project primarily, but the U.S. Has been a party to Netanyahu's wars going back essentially 30 years. Netanyahu came to office as Prime Minister of Israel first in 1996. He did it with the backing of U.S. political advisors, many of whom became senior U.S. officials. And he did it on the basis of a strategy, political strategy called Clean Break back in 1996. And what Clean Break meant was a clean break with the idea of the two-state solution. So the two-state solution means that there should be a state of Israel and a state of Palestine living side by side. That goes back to the United Nations 1947 partition.
I mean, Donald Trump, if he can do one thing to himself as a favor, would be sit down and listen to what Jeffrey Sachs is telling us. Because this guy knows a lot more about Netanyahu, his evil plan, than Donald Trump himself. I don't think even Donald Trump knows anything about Netanyahu. He just knows him to be his boss, his master, who is giving him order, and Donald Trump just takes orders and acts accordingly. Now, Tehran, they have first time, admitted. So if you see this report here, Tehran admits to overseas missile factories 2 months after the end of Israel's war on Iran. Iranian Defense Minister Brigadier General Aziz Nasir-Zadeh revealed. Now, this guy is the same one, this Brigadier General Aziz Nasir-Zadeh, is the same one who said that IRGC, Iranian military, should be ready to fight, and we are not in a ceasefire period. We are not in a ceasefire period with Israel because there was no ceasefire deal made between Iran, Israel, and U.S. Therefore, Iran must be ready at all time to receive another attack from Israel and U.S. So he revealed a new aspect of the country's missile program, saying that Iran has defense and weapons infrastructure and factories in other countries. Now, in other countries, which countries? I think it could be somewhere in the South, in South America, because that's the part they have a blind spot from where they're not able to launch those missiles. So maybe they have missiles program in South America, countries like, who knows, Venezuela, or maybe, recently we have seen Donald Trump sent 4,000 Marine from U.S. military to Venezuela to invade, to attack. I don't know. I'm just thinking maybe because he did not say in which country Iran has missile factories. It could be Venezuela. It could be some other countries. It could be somewhere in Asia. But it is going to be a big headache for United States, and especially for Israel, because Israel doesn't want Iran to have any missile program, let alone factories overseas. Iran has long been known for supplying missile technology to regional allies, but this marks the first time a senior military commander has acknowledged the existence of arms factories abroad. It could be Yemen, because the Houthis will be guarding it for Iran. Now, Nasir-Zadeh also announced a shift in Iran's military priorities after the 12-day war. He did not give details, but his reference to problems in the army and the Revolutionary Guard's defense system early in the conflict suggests changes may target that area. Until the war, it had relied on domestic production. Yeah, this is absolutely going to be a nightmare for the Zionist entity, because they now have to guess where is the missile factory Iran has. They cannot bomb all the countries in the world to destroy Iran's missile program, can they? Cannot. So it makes their work a lot more harder. The Zionist entities work a lot more harder to find out where these factories are and then strike.